here all alone, tears running constantly. Oh, somebody kill me, please! Somebody kill me, please!
Okay, so let me start off by giving you some backstory. Marvel's Inhumans was originally planned as a movie that was supposedly in development back in 2011, but it's only in 2014 that Marvel announced that the Inhumans movie would be part of Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to be released in 2018. Producer Kevin Feige said, "We really do believe that Inhumans can be a franchise or a series of franchises unto themselves. They have dozens of powers and an amazing social structure. With our 20th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we wanted to continue to refine what that universe is about." The Inhuman race then made an appearance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but the film was taken off the Marvel release schedule. Not too long after that, in 2016, Marvel and IMAX announced the 8-episode season. Yes, you heard that right, IMAX. You see, IMAX paid for the first 2 episodes of the series, which would then be shown in IMAX theaters. Ben Sherwood, president of the Disney ABC Television Group, described the deal as a quadruple win. A win for IMAX, a win for Marvel, a win for ABC Studios, and a win for ABC to launch a show in an innovative way and get attention. And Ben was right. This is what Roll Rain? Okay, this is what the director of the first 2 episodes said about the show. A lot of TV is very conventional. You introduce with a big wide shot, then you have some close-ups as people sit and have a conversation. I wanted to do something different. That's my style in movies. But people are nervous. They were nervous that they would not have a choice if I did something really stylish, that they would not be able to go back to traditional television. So for every scene I had 3 cameras. There was one doing the rule shots, one doing the ABC version, and one doing my version. When I cut my version and showed it to Marvel and ABC, they loved it, and they kept it that way and used it to show their buyers. Okay, I'm not an idiot. Obviously when he says that the show is cinematic, he's not saying it looks like the Marvel movies. There's obviously a big difference in budget. But still, the show is ugly as fuck. Why pretend that it's not? Why pretend that it's cinematic? Why show it in IMAX theaters? Don't you think that people are going to come out of Thor Ragnarok and then go see this and be extremely disappointed at how laughable the visual effects are? Why put your show in that position, where it's inevitably going to be negatively compared to the other Marvel movies? Fuck, okay, enough backstory, let's get to the fucking show. Marvel's Inhumans is quite an impressive series, in that it fails at literally everything it sets out to do. You know how Asylum Studios would do these cheap blockbuster rip-offs? Well, Marvel's Inhumans feels like an Asylum version of a Marvel show. Okay, so the show opens with a chase scene. Chase scenes are usually action-packed, suspenseful, high-tension sequences, so it's a good way to get us quickly invested in a story and the characters that appear in that scene. However, this scene involves a green man. He's a green man. If you're trying to create an intense, suspenseful, action-packed atmosphere, then it would probably be a good idea not to have this character as the main focus of the scene. Everything about this scene is trying to be cool and action-packed, but he's green. It all looks so cheap. I mean, this is how they show a character jumping off a cliff. You have no idea what's going on. They do such a poor job of making us believe that there's actually a cliff there. And then, there's this splash. I mean, I'm not a splash expert, but that's got to be one of the worst splashes in TV history. But, okay, that's just the first scene. Maybe it gets better. Oh, wait, oh no. The scene is really creepy. It's kind of like live-action hentai or something. Everything about this show's presentation is just wrong. The acting, the cinematography, the score, everything is horrible. I keep trying to come up with a clever way to describe how bad the action scenes are, and the one word that keeps popping up is lame. The action scenes in Inhumans are terrifyingly lame. This scene specifically.
Never approach downwind, dumbass.
I mean, look at this scene. He's shaving her hair. Who the fuck gave this the thumbs up? Why is this scene being presented so fucking dramatically? Do these people not see how ridiculous this is? Guess what? If you're a superhero whose entire power can be taken away by a haircut, you don't deserve to be a superhero. This has to be a parody. I feel like I'm watching a superhero movie. Here's a tip for any aspiring writers out there. If your superhero show involves this, no one will be able to take it seriously, so don't even bother trying to make it dramatic. The show feels like a collection of the worst takes of an already pretty bad series. It's all just so ugly, and it's always ugly in a very awkward way too. You just stare at the screen thinking, who made this decision? Who looked at this and thought, yep, that's it, that's perfect. Everything about the acting is cringe-inducingly bad, every facial expression is overacted, and every line of dialogue is delivered with the emotional sincerity of a badger. That being said, this is legitimately the greatest scene I've ever watched.
2.5 days. First day I'd be captivated by your beauty. Oh, the fun we'd have. Second day, it would start to bother me that you're a servant. And then I'd discover that you have dependency issues. You chew with your mouth open. And by the second afternoon, I'd want to kill you. It's sad, but true.
You are your own worst enemy, my friend.
This episode is also full of terrible exposition, because obviously we have no idea what's going on, so they need to explain the entire thing to us. But the problem is that it's all really stupid, so you're just sat watching like...
Pterogenesis simply provides our species with what it needs in evolutionary direction forward. Flawless genetics.
Hardly. It's nothing but random. An archaic luck of the draw that's been obsolete for centuries.
Shut up! I don't care! And even if you are paying attention to the exposition, the show just does such a bad job of world building. It really doesn't give you a good idea of what this world is like, how it feels to live there, how it works, or anything like that. I mean, I guess it tries to explain the inner workings of the royal family, but it all just feels so fake and boring. It doesn't feel like a real place. It just feels like a set. You can almost imagine the set designer being like, oh, and then we could put this shiny thing over here. That would be pretty cool, I guess. Somewhere down the line, someone also thought it would be a good idea to inject some comedy into the show.
We'll be sucked into the vast nothingness. No one will be left to observe this, no one left to care.
Both for our past
This is why nobody invites you to do their birthday toasts.
and our future.
Surprise, surprise, it's shit. Another delightful aspect of the show is the characters. The character of Maximus is as close as you can get to a mustache-twirling villain without literally showing him twirling his mustache. The guy so perfectly embodies the treacherous brother archetype that I'm pretty sure that in the script every line of his dialogue was just, say something that makes you sound treacherous. When watching the show, you get the strong impression that every creative decision was made by a 7-year-old boy, and not a very talented 7-year-old. The show really does feel like it's an adaptation of a story a child came up with while playing with some X-Men toys. The show also uses a lot of special effects. I feel like the producers thought, wow, our effects budget is way higher than what these types of shows usually get, so let's do loads of special effects. The problem with this type of thinking is that it doesn't take into account the fact that just because you have a bit more money than you usually do, it doesn't mean that you have enough to make good effects. It just means you have enough to do more than you usually do, but they're still going to be terrible, and oh boy are they terrible. Also, despite being very plot-driven, the show has as much entertainment value as a Tarkovsky film, and is completely incapable of holding your attention. Watching this show, you will find yourself periodically drifting off into unconsciousness, only to be awoken every so often by the appearance of Lockjaw, who will make you question whether or not you're stuck in some kind of freakish nightmare. And then, you'll feel a certain dose of despair when you realise that this show is actually real. Okay, so you might be thinking, why go after Marvel's Inhumans? It's an easy target. There isn't really anything interesting to say about it. It's just a bad show and everyone knows it, so why make a video on it? And that's a good question. I think Ken Tucker from Yahoo TV did a good job of explaining my thoughts on the show in his review. I'd like to say that Marvel's Inhumans is so spectacularly awful it's worth tuning in just to witness the superhero train wreck, but alas, Inhumans does not even yield sarcastic pleasures. It's just bad. Bad in a dull way. Bad in an irritating way. Marvel's Inhumans is just inhumane. The truth is, this show is just bad. I was originally planning on watching the entire season and making a big long video where I just examine every single flaw, but I just can't. It took me 2 weeks to get through the first episode. Maybe I'm being overly dramatic, but I really do believe this. There is absolutely nothing to like about this show. Just don't watch it. I don't know why I'm making this video. Why do we feel the need to watch these terrible shows? Is it just to shit on them? Do we get enjoyment from shitting on them? Am I enjoying this? No, I'm not. Maybe I thought I could make something entertaining out of it, but I can't. I just can't. I'm sorry. Some things should just be left alone. Some things should just be forgotten.